You know those little squiggles after a word in a dictionary, whether it's online or physical, you're always going to see this series of little symbols. So what are they and how can they be useful? Stay with me as we look at how to read phonemic script so that you never have to wonder how to pronounce a word in English again. Let's go. Okay, so what is phonemic script? In a moment, I'm going to give you a little tutorial on the phonemic chart, but I just wanted to give you a quick warning that you don't need to learn all of this in one sitting. You know, it takes time and it's not as difficult as it seems either. In fact, it's pretty easy. Okay, so what is the phonemic chart? Basically, it is a series of symbols that represent all the sounds in the English language. What we're going to do today is look at British pronunciation. Okay, so the phonemic chart for British English. There are a few more symbols for American English, but once you've looked at this video, at this tutorial, then you'll be able to incorporate other sounds. Okay, so why is it that knowing these symbols is useful to you? Well, basically because imagine that you're reading something and you come across a word that you don't know how to pronounce. Well, if you look for it in the dictionary, then the dictionary will tell you not only what part of speech it is and the different definitions, but also its pronunciation. Of course, there is the shortcut. You can always go to Google and ask it to pronounce a word for you. But if you want a single place where it tells you how to pronounce and the definition, then knowing these symbols is going to be very helpful. So this is the phonemic chart for British English, as I've mentioned before. And as you can see, it's divided into three main parts. So this top left part here is the vowel sounds in English. This top right is the diphthongs, or two vowel sounds together. And down here, this big block is the consonants. So if you download the app and you get this chart on your mobile, it's called Sounds Right, and it looks like that. Sounds Right. So you can download this chart, and then once you've downloaded it, if you click this little triangle on the top right here in each symbol, it'll give you a series of words that have this sound. Meantime, if you just click the box, then it'll tell you what the sound is for each symbol. So this is E, this is A, the kind of the Latin A, short A sound, and then E, this is the short O, and this is the long U. Okay, so here in the vowel sounds, what you need to know is that the vowels that appear without the two little dots are short, and obviously the vowels with two dots are long. So this is E, U, this is O. This is a very different sound from the Americans. So the Americans would pronounce the sound more aw, like a more open sound, like draw. The English would say draw. So this is a very different sound between the English and the Americans. This is like earth, and nurse, ah, like far, and like up, and love, and cup. You can see that the spelling doesn't really tell you what the sound is. So cup is spelled with U, love is spelled with O, and so either the U or the O can produce the sound and even OU together, like couple. I did produce another video on vowel sounds in English, so I'll leave a link for that video up on the top right here. And then the other thing that I want to point out about the vowels is this little sound here. This one is the sound. It's called the schwa, and it's the most common sound in the English language. So you'll see a lot when you look at phonemic script, because A can produce a, E can produce a, I, O, U. All the vowel sounds can produce the sound a. For example, in the word observer, observer. We don't say observer, we say observer, So that sound of the O and the ER is producing the sound a. So remember that these symbols are representations of sounds. Okay? Then on the top right here, we have two vowel sounds together. Ia. Here we have our schwa, the sound. Ia. Here we have the and the together. Air, like the air you breathe. Oh, like show. Ow, a, I, and oi. This symbol here is like our O from here, like horse and draw and tall. O, oi. Okay, so that's a quick overview of the vowel sounds in English. Do download the app and play around with it. It's quite fun. And then when you're able to read phonemic script, you'll be like, oh my gosh, I don't need somebody to tell me. I can look at the phonemic script and read it. Okay, so down here we have the consonants. Now you can recognize most of these consonants, so I won't go through all of them. Yes, you know that this is p, f, t, and this is b, v, d. This b and v does produce problems for Spanish speakers, and I think I'll create a whole video on just these two sounds and how they're different. Then there's d, and then there's these two sounds here. Both of these are produced with the tongue between the teeth. But the top one is voiceless. It's just air, like thing and thought. And the bottom one is voiced. So like this and that. But both are produced in the same way with your tongue between the teeth. And this is like closing your throat, like England, and song. When we have an N and a G together, we produce that sound, but not necessarily. So it's This is ch, and so this one here is sh without the t. Ch, sh, and between ch and sh, s, k. This is j, like judge, and bridge, j. Z. This is zh. Not a very common sound in English, but there it is. And finally, this sound is y. Okay, so there you have it. That's it. Simple, right? So let's look at a couple of features now when we look at words produced with phonemic script. Okay, so basically there's two things you need to know. The first is that phonemic script is always going to be written between slashes. Okay, so here we have the symbols between the two slashes. And the other is that the apostrophe or vertical line here, which will either appear at the top or at the bottom, indicates the stressed syllable in words with more than one syllable. So in this case, f, this is our schwa sound here, f, and then we have this vertical line indicating that the next syllable is the stressed one. So it's phony, this is ni, and then mic. Phonemic. And this is a word with one single syllable, so there's no indication of stress. Script. Phonemic script. Okay? So that's what you need to know. phonemic symbols between slashes, and these vertical lines. If it's at the top, it's the main stress. If it's at the bottom, it's the secondary stress. We'll take a look at that in a moment. Okay, so let's test it out. Here we have our two slashes indicating that this is phonemic script. We have the vertical line at the top here, which indicates that the next syllable is the stressed one. T, E, that's a long E. T. Then we have ch, teacher. This is the schwa sound, that that I was talking about before. And this R is actually my invention. The English would not indicate the R sound in this word. It would just be teacher, finishing with the schwa sound. The Americans would definitely indicate the sound. So it would be teacher. And I put it at the top here because the way I speak, I indicate the R, but I don't pronounce it like the Americans. So my accent is a bit of a hybrid. Teacher. So the R is kind of indicated there. And of course, the word is teacher. How about this one? We have the Y. Well, first, the stress in the main stress is going to be in the first syllable. And then we have this lower vertical line here, which indicates secondary stress. So you, this is y and u, you. And then here we have our ch again, and then y, tube, YouTube. So that's what that is, YouTube. That's how we pronounce it in English, YouTube. And then we have here the secondary stress in the second syllable, and then our main stress here, pronunciation. This is the sh, here's our schwa, n, nun. This is a little bit more open than pronunciation. And then in our first syllable, lesson, pronunciation lesson. That's what that says. Okay. So are you ready for a little quiz? Okay, so what do these words say? Let's take a look. We have our main stress in the first syllable, b-y-u, bu, t. This is our schwa, t, full, beautiful. Does that sound like a word? Beautiful. Here's our closed throat, English. Here's our sh, English. Now, the main stress here in this word is the second syllable, not the first. So requires. Here's my little R here. The English would just say requires without an R sound, but I indicate it. Requires. We don't say requires, we say requires. And then we have this word. This is our short and open our lang. That's our first syllable is going to be stressed. Language. This is j. Language. Can you notice here that it's written with an I sound, not a? So even when the word is language, we don't say language, we say language. Language. That is the correct pronunciation of this word. And finally, we have our The stress is the second syllable, where. Awareness. my R being indicated there. The Americans would say awareness with a sound. The English would say awareness without an R sound at all. So I kind of indicated there. Awareness. Right? So just to finish, we've got this. You, O, this is a short O. This is our voiced with the tongue between the teeth. You got this. You got this. Yay. Well done. Okay, so that's a very quick rundown of how to read phonemic script. I hope it's useful to you. Next time you're reading something in English and you need to look the word up in a dictionary, just make sure you notice those symbols and see if you can pronounce it. Then download the app. It's free, so why not? Have fun with it. And make sure you pick up my free guide to revolutionize your English, filled with tips and ideas to move forward with your English on your own. Okay, and I'll see you very soon in the next video. Remember to invite the bell to be notified when I upload it. See you then. Bye for now.